The NBA draft is tomorrow. This is the final mock draft. 59 picks. I know a trade happened. I'll talk about it in a second. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd. I think it is. My head's spinning. Honestly, there's just so much stuff happening that maybe my name's Josh Lloyd, maybe I'm the lead fantasy analyst at Basketball Monster, but definitely thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms. Be a double banger. You might have to be a triple banger. There's a lot of stuff happening. I just did a show talking about the Jrue Holiday, Anthony Simons deal and the Jordan Poole, CJ McCollum deal. That show, as I'm recording this, is currently released and premiering. And then as I'm preparing this show and getting it up and running right now, another trade happened. Kristaps Porziņģis heads to Atlanta. Terrence Mann heads to Brooklyn, first round pick to Brooklyn. George Niang goes to the Celtics. I'm going to do a separate video on that trade because I've just got to get this mock draft out and done. So we will talk NBA draft, mock draft. It will have my picks of what I would do at all 59 picks, plus using the latest intel from ESPN and their mock draft, because their mock drafts are based on what they are hearing, not what Jonathan Givony would do. I will show the differences there. I think usually in the past I've done things where I predicted what would happen. I don't think there's much use in that, because honestly, I don't know. I don't have a source in every team and a bunch of scouts and agents telling me things. If you wanted to see what you think will happen, you can read what Givony puts out. You can read Sam Vecenie's, but even Sam's leans a little bit more towards what he would do. So I'm just going to show you what the ESPN mock predicts for each pick, for the first round at least, and tell you what I'm going to do in those slots. There will be a Porziņģis trade video coming later on. But like I said in the earlier video about Jrue Holiday and Anthony Simons, any takes on the Celtics, don't worry about it, because they're going to move more guys. And I don't know that they're done. I still think Jaylen Brown and Derek White and Al Horford even are at massive chances of leaving the team. I think that all is possible. That is why that reaction to the Jrue Holiday Simons one, it's hard to judge anything because of what can happen. Let's talk about the draft. Let's talk about the picks. Let's talk about what we need to talk about. There are 59 picks here. I'm not going to go into gigantic detail on all of the players because we've talked about them a lot. It's more just quick chats on the reasoning, the teams, all of that stuff. I think is probably the best way to go about that at this stage. So let's get into it. The start of the draft is pretty straightforward. I don't think there's any real concerns here. What I found interesting is I did my mock draft, obviously, then I went and checked on the ESPN mock draft to see what was different. Our first four picks were exactly the same, and I thought my first four picks were being a little out there, or at least some of them. Right, number one, Flagg to Dallas, easy pick. Flagg is going to be a top 5 dynasty guy, number 1 in dynasty rookie drafts. He'll be a top 50 redraft player, and I don't know that I'll pick him there, but that is where he will go. And I think he'll probably finish in the top 50, honestly. The Mavericks roster is weird, and honestly, I think the Mavericks are going to make a trade. Signing your third-string center, Daniel Gafford, for $54 million doesn't make any sense unless you're planning to trade him. Yeah? So I think other stuff's going to happen there. But Flagg, obviously at number 1. Obviously at number 2 is Dylan Harper. That's to San Antonio. It's a weird fit with Harper, Castle, and Fox, but Harper, to me, significantly better prospect than Castle. I don't think you make any decisions on a team based on Steph Castle on your team. Dylan Harper is not as good of a fantasy prospect as Flagg. He will probably be drafted too high in fantasy redrafts, I'm guessing. He will be, I still think, really good in dynasty formats, but it will be shaky at first with shooting numbers, usage numbers, assist rate opportunities with Fox and Castle there. Unless, of course, they make a trade that clears out Castle or someone like that. Well, not someone like that. Literally just exactly that. Number 3, I had VJ Edgecombe. Yeah, VJ Edgecombe. Now, I don't know what Philadelphia is going to do. They could make trades here. But interestingly, ESPN's mock draft had VJ Edgecombe going there as well. I worry a little bit about some of the shooting, but when you've got Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain as your foundational young pieces, but I need someone to defend next to them. I can't have those two starting in the backcourt because you will just get lit up every game. And VJ, I think, has got offensive ability. I don't know if he's got all NBA level value, but he's clearly, to me, a better prospect than Jared McCain is. But he can defend next to Tyrese Maxey, and he can do some other stuff offensively. So I like it. Obviously, I'll put him there. Number 4, I've got Concaniple third on my board overall. I picked him number 4 here, going to the Charlotte Hornets, and so did ESPN, which is a little surprising to me. I didn't think that they'd do that. I think Knipple, the idea of him being a safe, fit everywhere player is fine, but I think he's got actually more upside than that. I don't think he's as bad athletically as, 6'6" white guy would suggest. The shooting is elite. The passing is strong. I think defensively he's not dreadful, but he's okay. I think he's a better defender, say, than Trey Johnson or Jeremiah Fears. The size is all right. So I've got Concaniple going at number 4 to Charlotte. This is where we differ on the ESPN mock draft. At number 5 to Utah, I've got Trey Johnson, who's probably the best high-volume shooter in the draft. I have some worries about that sort of skill set of a shooting guard. And can he be a passer? Is the defense so bad because of the context of college and how high his usage was? I don't know. I don't care about anyone on Utah in terms of do I draft over them. I don't care that they've got George or Collier or Filipowski or Markin. I don't care. Sexton, Clarkson, doesn't matter. I don't care that there's 4 guards there, Sexton, Clarkson, Collier, George, and I'm drafting another one. I could not care less. And ESPN has Jeremiah Fears going there. I am not in on Jeremiah Fears. He can't shoot. I don't know if he'll ever shoot. The defense is terrible. The size is not great. The strength is not great. Now, the advantage Fears has is he is young. Really good dribbler. Best dribbler probably in the class. Good free throw shooter, so maybe the shot comes along. I'm just not in on him. I think the feel is a little bit off from him, and I'm not in on it. But they've got another guard going to Utah, which, again, I don't... If you think he's the best player, if you're Utah, you just take who you think the best guy is. So ESPN has Jeremiah Fears at 5. I've got Trey Johnson. We both have Ace Bailey going at 6 to the Wizards. I'm not a real big Ace Bailey guy. The feel looks rough. The passing is terrible. He's smaller than I hoped. Defensively, he's not good, but there are flashes still. And the worry you have with Bailey, and I think someone articulated this the other day, is that, like, you don't want to draft him because this could easily be Kevin Knox. Like, easily. No feel, bad defense, iffy shooting player. But you also are worried to pass on him because what if he becomes Paul George? Because you're an idiot if you pass on him. So with Washington, given I think the need fits nicely there, he'll be able to get shots. Will he be able to develop with defense behind him inside? Yeah. I still have some worries about him. I think the fantasy game is relatively rough because assists, steals, blocks, field goals, free throws could all be bad. But usage should be all right, and that's where I've got him. The next part is where all of my picks versus the ESPN predicted picks, they go off track. And understandably, I'm not going to hit all of these, and it's not what I intend to do. It's not what I'm trying to do here. So if you do have a comment, well, this guy's never going here, guess what? I don't care, and I know that. But guess what also happens? When we look at a draft back in the future, we don't go, well, the 7th guy is better than the 8th guy, clearly, and the 8th guy is better than the 9th guy, and the 9th guy is better than the 10th guy, and the 10th guy is better than the 11th guy. It's never how any of this works. So irrespective of my opinion or the scout's opinion or the team's opinion or the draft order, the players in terms of their value will never be that order. It will never happen. So I'm just going to stick with what I believe. At number 7, to the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm going to take Thomas Sorba. I think Sorba is underrated as a big man. I think that his ability next to Zion makes a lot of sense. I think his shooting is something that can happen. He's a good defensive player. They obviously just traded for Jordan Poole, and not that that matters that much. But I don't, I've got Sorba at 7 to the Pelicans. ESPN has Trey Johnson going at 7 to the Pelicans, which I don't really understand that at all. Now, Trey Johnson's probably the best player left and available, according to their board, so that's okay. But Trey Johnson, Jordan Poole, DeJounte Murray, I don't know. That's a weird fit, but whatever. Their mock, by the way, was done before the Jordan Poole trade. At number 8, I'm well aware I'm higher on Jace Richardson than a lot of people, except for maybe Matt Ishbia. I'm taking Jace Richardson at 8 for the Nets. Oh my God, the Nets would never do this. The Nets have 5 first-round picks, my guy, and they have nobody good on the team. I think Jace Richardson's feel, his length, his shooting, I think there's passing upside. Yeah, he struggles defensively at times. He's a little bit short. I understand that. And I don't care about Cam Thomas being there or D'Angelo Russell maybe coming back. I don't care. I want a guy with high feel. This is this is probably an overcorrection at times for me from like being a little bit down on a high field player like Tyrese Halliburton. Although Halliburton's got the size advantage. I think just guys that play, that know how to play, are important. And shooting upside, and length. I have Jace Richardson at 8 to the Nets. ESPN has Kaman Malawach going to the Nets at 8. Fine. I've got Kaman Malawach going at number 9 to the Toronto Raptors as Jakob Poeltl's backup. ESPN has Noah Essengay going to the Raptors, which is totally fine. I can see that happening. Number 10 is the Phoenix Suns. They get the pick back in the Kevin Durant deal. I'm taking Carter Bryant there. ESPN has Colin Murray Boyles. Bryant is probably someone who's going to be way better from a real-life perspective than a fantasy perspective. Defender who might not put up good defensive stats. The shooting is interesting and it's something to watch. It fits a real need on Phoenix, and it's just the sort of player that makes sense on good teams. They're not a good team, but if you want to be a good team, you need to have a player like Carter Bryant. Number 11 is Portland. I'm choosing Derek Queen there. The ESPN mock has Carter Bryant going there. Queen is a really strong offensive player. I think he's a solid backup, at least on this team, behind Avdia and Ayton. Ayton's not going to be there long term, and Avdia might end up being a 3. So ideally, you would want a Queen, Klingon, Avdia 3-4-5. That would be the long-term plan, I would hope, with a team like if they made a pick like this. And I think that someone like Klingon helps Queen with the defensive stuff. And again, it'd be squishy early on, but you're planning for 2-3 years down the line here. At number 12, going to the Bulls, I do have Noah Essengay, who is an elite free throw drawer, big size, very young. Shooting a work in progress, defensive stuff is okay. The ESPN mock draft has Kasparas Jakučionis going there. Wow. Is that the intel they're hearing because the Bulls GM is Lithuanian? Don't know. Wouldn't that be a surprise if they backed up Matas Buzelis with Kasparas Jakučionis? At least that front office got an extension. We can all breathe easy. We're going to come back with the rest of the draft. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by Open Phone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. And that's when you have an urgent need. Say you need to swindle a GM, right? You want to make sure that the Chicago Bulls front office has Open Phone so that they're always going to hear your offer and they can make a dumb decision. Because you don't want them to miss it, not return the call, then you're forced to go do something else with a team like Boston who knows what they're doing. That's disgusting. Open Phone is the number 1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or your computer. Open Phone lets you manage your business calls and texts from a single app. You've also got the ability to have their AI agent handle the after-hour calls, answer the common questions, and capture leads so you never miss a customer. Open Phone is offering all of you guys 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That is openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. If you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls and no missed customers. We're doing a mock draft. We've done the first 12 picks. Now, I'll recap the first round. We get to the end of the first round. Let's just go straight into pick number 13, though, with this mock at number 13. A guy that I am higher on than others. This is the Atlanta Hawks. In this draft spot, I'm taking Nolan Traore. Rough start to the year, good size, solid shooting end of the year, a backup point guard situation for Trae Young, who, when he develops into a higher level player, which I think he will, Traore, Young would be starting to move off, or they've traded off, or whatever they've done. Just getting an extra guard, because I don't trust Kobe Buffton at this point. Dyson Daniels is not really a point guard. Anyway, I'm just sort of taking the guy that I think might be the best fit there, or even the best player available. ESPN's mock draft is hearing that it's a point guard as well. They're going with Yegor Demon. Now, I don't have Demon as high as Traore, but the thinking is the same. At 14, the Spurs. I'm taking Cedric Coward there. Forward size guy, defensive ability, shooting ability. We hope he's a little bit on the older side, which is not ideal for me at that spot, but I think that his skill set works. I do not, for a million years, understand why ESPN, again, basing it on intel, or why the Spurs would even be considering Yoann Béranger at 14. I don't get it. Why would you? Béranger and Victor, okay, they're huge. They're French. I don't understand it, though. The thing you don't need is a center. I don't understand that. At 15, this is the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm picking Colin Murray Boyles here. Could he just be like a future best, or not even worst case, like solid case, Kenrich Williams replacement? Someone who can play next to Hartenstein, next to Chet, could start games even. The offense is a concern very clearly, but a guy that would just fit multiple roles on this team. At number 16, this is finally where I take Jeremiah Fears, going to Memphis. I know Scottie Pippen is there. Desmond Bane is gone. Fears is sort of who knows what their thought process is with Ja Morant. I've got no idea. But I couldn't, in all conscience, let Fears go any further down than this. The ESPN mock has Cedric Coward at 16. At number 17, this is Minnesota. I'm taking Yegor Demon. Mike Conley's a little washed. We don't know if DiVincenzo or Alexander Walker are going to return. It's going to take some time for Demon. The shooting confidence is fine. They just don't go in. I think having someone that's a passer with size like that next to Ant makes sense. It'll just take a little bit of time for him. ESPN has Thomas Sorba going at 17 to be maybe a Naz Reid replacement. They've already got Leonard Miller in there, and they've got Gobert and Reid and Randall, but there's going to be stuff changing there. 18 is Washington. I'm taking Kasparas Yakuchonis in this spot. ESPN's got Liam McNeely. Yakuchonis, high turnover point guard, but pretty good passer. I'm a little worried about the shooting with him. I'm worried about the defense there. Obviously, they just traded for CJ McCollum. He's a million years old. He's not going to play much initially. Yakuchonis with CJ and Smart and Carrington there, but could Bub and Yakuchonis work together? Yeah, maybe, probably, but you're just taking options here and seeing what can develop. If I go to the next grouping of 6 players, which I will, we'll start at pick number 19. It is one of the million picks that the Brooklyn Nets have. I've got them choosing Liam McNeely here. Didn't shoot well for UConn, but he's a good sized, and he is going to be a shooting sort of forward. Again, they just need talent. Getting a player like this who can do a little bit more than shoot makes sense. Asa Newell is the guy that ESPN has going at 19. At 20 is where I have Asa Newell, and that is going to the Miami Heat. He'd be behind Bam. He'd be behind Khalil Ware. Probably be behind Haywood Highsmith or Jovic and look to jump ahead of those guys. He's young. He's a shot blocker. The shooting might come along. He's the sort of player that you want to hit. They don't always hit, and often they don't, but the skill set is good. At 20, ESPN had Walter Clayton Jr. At 21, I'm going to choose Nick Clifford in that spot going to Utah. Again, Utah just needs guys who can do stuff, and Clifford can do stuff. He can pass. He can defend. He can shoot. He is old. But with Utah, just get something in. The ESPN mock has Hugo Gonzalez from Real Madrid going there. I've got Gonzalez a little bit down later. At number 22, originally I was picking this pick for old mates the Atlanta Hawks, but of course the Nets now have this pick thanks to the Porziņģis deal. With the Nets, I haven't picked a center for them, so I'm going to pick one here. Johan Beringer at 22, who would be behind Sharp and Claxton, but I think would be considered the center of the future there. ESPN has Danny Wolf going at 22, but that was the Atlanta pick. They haven't obviously updated it for Brooklyn getting that selection. At number 23, this was the Pacers pick that is now the Pelicans pick. I'm going to choose Maxime Reynaud. I know I chose Sorba for them at 7, but Reynaud is a very different player. I'm not fully bought in on Yves Missi, so I just want multiple options there, and Reynaud's ability to shoot next to Zion and his improved rim protection. That's the sort of guy that I want to be able to hit next to Zion. So let's see. Let's see if it works. They had Nick Clifford going to the Pelicans there. Who the Pelicans have lost some wing depth. Clifford's fine. I don't mind him going there, but obviously I'd already picked him. At 24, this is the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm going to choose Javon Small from West Virginia. Will Riley was the pick from ESPN. I don't really like Riley as a prospect. Small, someone who's risen to me late after I've done more work on it. A little bit older, but I do think that he's a sort of smart player that would make a lot of sense for Oklahoma City. And now we get to the end of the first round. Pick number 25 is your Orlando Magic. I've had Walter Clayton going there for a while. I'm going to stick with Walter Clayton Jr. going there. Yes, Desmond Bane alleviates some of their shooting problems, but adding Clayton as a backup, replacing some of the Cole Anthony stuff is useful, and I think he can step in and be at least a backup immediately. The ESPN draft had Jace Richardson going there. Very clearly, I'm much higher on Jace Richardson. 26 and 27 are both the Brooklyn Nets. I had Rasheer Fleming and Danny Wolf. Some forward depth for the Nets. Again, they've got 5 first-round picks. I don't know if they hold all these picks or what they do. They just need talent in the door. Now, one of the picks that they had, ESPN, was Rasheer Fleming going to the Nets, so we matched up on that one. They had him at 27, but it doesn't really matter. The other one they had was Nolan Traore going there, which I understand, but remember I took a point guard also earlier for them with Jace Richardson, so I went with Fleming and Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf, a guy that can rebound, can pass, maybe can shoot. Defensively, I'm not 100% certain. He's a little bit older. There are some who really love Danny Wolf, and some of his stats are great. He could easily be a top 15 player in this class. I'm not sold on it, but it could happen. At 28, I've got Ryan Kalkbrenner. That's the Celtics pick. They've obviously just traded away Porziņģis. They may not have Al Horford. I have no idea what this team is going to look like. It's going to be pretty bad, I think. Kalkbrenner could honestly just come in, start straight away, block 2 shots, average 10 boards with 60% shooting as a rookie. Or whatever they do at pick 28. That pick 28 for Boston now is incredibly key because their backups are unsigned Luke Cornett, non-guaranteed Nemesh Keita, and old man Xavier Tillman. So, like, what? That pick, if they're trying, and I think there's more stuff coming from Boston, that is a very interesting pick. The ESPN mock had Maxim Reynaud, so picking a center. At number 29 is the Phoenix Suns. I'm going to take Bogoljub Markovic there, a 6'11 passing, shooting big man from Serbia. ESPN had Ryan Kalkbrenner there, who I'd already just picked at 28. And then number 30 is the Clippers. I'm going to take Cam Jones, a shooting guard who played as a point guard, had pretty good assist rate, high usage guy. Just, he probably wouldn't play much for the Clippers, but just a sort of player that I think there is a little bit of interest in. He's a little bit older, obviously, and with Harden and Powell there, you're not going to see much, but those guys are clearly older. He's an interesting guy just to see where it goes. The ESPN mock had Noah Pender in that spot, who's someone I like, and I have early in the second round as a young French wing. We have got the second round to go through. Today's episode, though, is also brought to you by Wayfair. There's nothing like stepping into your own personal outdoor space and feeling like you've escaped to that personal oasis. You might want to update your patio this season, and Wayfair makes it so easy to do that and turn that space into an area that feels like yours, comfortable, stylish, and ready for summer. Everything that you need for your outdoor space is at Wayfair. Conversation sets, outdoor bars, fire pits, hot tubs, gazebos, it is all there. It can give your backyard the resort feel without the resort price tag, because Wayfair stuff, it's designed to suit any budget, any style. And one of the great things about it is the delivery. It's fast, it's hassle-free, and it is free as well, even for the large items. So don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis today with Wayfair and enjoy it all summer long. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop a huge outdoor selection. That is WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right, so that is the first round of my mock draft done. Let's go through and just recap that first round before I do the second round of the mock. I'll just run through it quickly. Number 1, Cooper Flagg. Number 2, Dylan Harper. Number 3, VJ Edgecombe. Number 4, Con Knipple. Number 5, Trey Johnson. Number 6, Ace Bailey. Number 7, Thomas Sorber. Number 8, Jace Richardson. Number 9, Kama Malawach. Number 10, Carter Bryant. Number 11, Derek Queen. Number 12, Noah Essengay. Number 13 in the mock, Nolan Traore. Number 14, Cedric Coward. Number 15, Colin Murray-Boyles. Number 16, Jeremiah Fears. Number 17, Yegor Demon. And number 18, Kasparis Yakuchonis. You'll notice 3-point guards in a row there. Number 19, Liam McNeely. Number 20, Asa Newell. Number 21, Nick Clifford. 22, Yoann Beranger. 23, Maxime Reynaud. And number 24, Javon Small. And then the last 6 picks of the first round. Number 25, Walter Clayton Jr. Number 26, Rasheed Fleming. 27, Danny Wolf. 28, Ryan Kalkbrenner. 29, Bogoljub Markovic. And number 30, Cam Jones. Now, I'm not going to do the ESPN picks for the second round. I'm just going to go through my picks for the second round, which I don't believe there is a single pick in the second round apart from one that is actually owned by its original team. And I think that might be the Magic's pick. I'm going to go double check that. I humbly apologize, I lied. Pick 33 is an original pick. Pick 36 is an original pick. Pick 38 is an original pick. And the Magic, 46, 54, 55, and 58 are original picks. It's not many, so I lied in a huge way. Apologies. Number 31 is the Timberwolves. I'm going to take Adu Thero. OG Anunoby upside, defensive wing, good size, usage in college, but didn't shoot well. We'll see where that goes. 32 to Boston, Drake Powell. 33 to Cleveland. No, not Cleveland, to Charlotte. I believe it might be pronounced Sion James. I've been calling him Sion, so I apologize. Sion James, defensive wing from Duke. 34 to Charlotte, Hansen Yang, the big Chinese passing center. Number 35 to Philadelphia, Noah Pender. Number 36, again to Brooklyn, Ryan Nembhard, one of the better passing point guards in the draft. Detroit holds pick number 37. So I'm going to take Kobe Bryant, shooting guard there. Number 38 to the San Antonio Spurs, Hugo Gonzalez. Toronto holds pick number 39. I'm going to go with Ben Saraf there. I think you might see Saraf going in the first round. Israeli point forward. I worry about the shooting and the defense for him, but he's got some upside traits, and the age is intriguing and the passing is strong. The Pelicans, in the pick they got today from the Wizards, pick number 40, I'm choosing Amari Williams. The Warriors at 41, Chaz Lanier, the senior guard out of Tennessee with good volume shooting and an ability to sort of scale up and scale down. Getting shooting for the Warriors is going to be important. Obviously, with Jimmy and Draymond sharing the court together. You got Steph, obviously. Lanier's not going to do much initially, but I just do think he can turn into a rotation player. And then at 42, the Sacramento Kings, I'm going to go with Joni Broome from Auburn, another center there to back up Domantas Sabonis. Trey Lyles, not going to cut it. Alex Len's been in that role in the past. Just getting, Valanciunas is there, but he's obviously old, so Broome will get an opportunity to work into being a backup in the future. At number 43, it is the Utah Jazz. I'm going to choose Micah Peavy in that spot. 44, Alex Tui going to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm very intrigued. That name, Alex Tui, is Australian. How do Americans pronounce that surname? I haven't heard an American try to pronounce it. Tui? Tui. How do you pronounce it? Because it's Tui. That's how it's pronounced. Alex Tui. Tuhei. Oh, don't tell me it's Tuhei. You guys don't call him Alex Tuhei, do you? Bro, come on. I'm overreacting without knowing how you say it. It's Alex Tui. 44 to the Thunder. 45 to the Bulls, John Tonje. I think it's Tonje, pretty sure it is. 46 to the Magic, Will Riley. I don't really like Riley there, but again, there is upside in him. He's got very good size. I don't know if the shooting comes, and I don't know what else he does, but we take the upside flyer there. 47, one of the many, many Kobes in this draft. I'm going to take Kobe Sanders. There's Kobe Bryant. There's Kobe Johnson. There might be one more. The Bucks taking Kobe Sanders at 47. At 48 to the Grizzlies, I'm going to take Max Shulga. I think is it Maxime? I think his name is Max. Anyway, he's Ukrainian. Max Shulga going to the Grizzlies at 48. At 49, I'm going to take... as I forget to switch it across, let's bring it across. At 49, I'm going to go with another Aussie there with Tyrese Proctor. Proctor, I thought, could have gone a little bit higher in this draft. I thought he was at times disappointing this season, but taking him with to the Cavs there, just some backup guard depth in case like Ty Jerome leaves in the future. At number 50 to the Knicks, I'm going with Brooks Barnhizer. The Knicks, we'd normally just dismiss all this, but they don't have Tom Thibodeau. They also don't have a coach, but maybe things change in terms of rotations now. 51 to the Clippers, I'm going to take Vlad Golden. 52 to the Suns, another Aussie, Lachlan Olbrich. 53 to the Jazz, Jamai Mashak, who I've jumped up my big board recently. Number 54 to the Pacers, Yannick Conan Niederhauser, who will almost certainly go higher than that. I'm a little bit down on him though. And then lastly, the last 5 picks of the draft. Remember, there is a forfeited pick in there. At number 55, I'm going to take to the Lakers, Bryce Williams. At number 56 to the Grizzlies, Elijah Martin. 57 to the Magic, Eric Dixon. 58 to the Cavs, Kadari Richmond. And 59 to the Suns, Chucky Hepburn. All right. Should we recap that second round just to finish off the show? Sure, why not? 31, Thero. 32, Powell. 33, Sion James. 34, Hanson Yang. 35, Noah Pender. 36, Ryan Nembhard. 37, Kobe Bryant. 38, Hugo Gonzalez. 39, Ben Saraf. Number 40, Amari Williams. 41, Chaz Lanier. Number 42, Johnny Broome. 43, Micah Peavy. 44, Alex Tuhei. 45, John Tonje. 46, Will Riley. 47, Kobe Sanders. 48, Max Shulga. 49, Tyrese Proctor. Number 50, Brooks Barnhizer. 51, Vlad Golden. 51, Lachlan Olbrich. 53, Jamai Mashak. 54, Yannick Conan Niederhauser. 55, Bryce Williams. 56, Elijah Martin. 57, Eric Dixon. 58, Kadari Richmond. And 59, Chucky Hepburn. This is not my list of what order I would draft these guys in Dynasty. That will come out after the NBA draft when we find out where these guys go and there are adjustments made, because part of my formula for that is A, what pick they go at, what sort of draft capital has been invested into the player, as well as the player's skill set and their age and the team they're on. So that will adjust there, because not like we can talk Dynasty and we look 5 years in the future, which is fine, we do that, right? But in terms of how I can rank these guys, as much as I might disagree with Jeremiah Fears going at 5, and I do, but if he does go at 5, The fact that Utah invested pick 5 in him, draft capital-wise, means he has to move up on my board. Because it means that they invested a lot, so they give him extra chances. Shout out to Cam Reddish. Teams who invest draft capital, even around the league, draft capital sticks. James Wiseman played this season in the NBA as a backup center. He got injured immediately, but draft capital sticks. So it impacts the dynasty rankings, even if I don't agree with it. I put my evaluations, I put statistical translations, I put my big board, I put consensus big boards, and I put where the player was drafted into a formula to try and give a dynasty valuation, because they're the things that I think do matter. And age, of course, as well. Guys, we are done here. Got to get this Porziņģis video done. Bloody NBA, can you settle down for 5 seconds? We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.